Hey everyone, and welcome back to episode... Fuck, what?
6?
Yeah, 6. Welcome back to episode 6 of the Pretty Spooky podcast. She's pretty, and I'm spooky. I'm Spectre.
And I'm Miramay.
Yeah,
wait, okay.
We're trying to think.
We're workshopping it.
Yeah. Did you like it? If not, don't tell us.
We'll hurt our feelings. We'll probably cry.
So, we missed a week because...
of holidays.
It was 4th of July,
noticed.
and then also it was my birthday, and, you know, it was just one long week of drinking, so...
I don't know if you noticed, but the sky was literally on fire in some places, just, you know, for like one night.
Yeah, it was really colorful fire.
Very loud.
Yeah, my dog was sad.
But, so we were gone for a week, and if you were wondering why, that's why. But we're back, doing our thing. Hopefully you are back as well.
Yep. So, who wants to go first this week?
Say what now?
Who do you want to go first this week? Mine's short.
Mine's a little bit longer, I think.
I'll go first because I feel like it's appropriate with us talking about the holiday. Because today is Friday the 13th. You'll be hearing this, you know, a couple days from now. But
yes. It is the creepy kids holiday.
Right. So,
besides Halloween.
My topic this week is the origins of Friday the 13th.
I'm all ears.
Okay. So, I am already nervous because there's 2 words that I don't know how to pronounce. I don't think anybody...
Just try.
I don't think anyone does, and when I say it, you'll understand. But
okay.
I
believe in you.
This is from history.com.
All right.
And it was long considered a harbinger of bad luck. Friday the 13th has inspired a late 19th century secret society, an early 20th century novel, a horror film franchise, and not one, but 2 unwieldy terms. Scavedicatriophobia. I tried.
Oh.
And frigatriskadecaphobia. Okay, I fucking...
That one I've heard before.
I tried! Okay.
Oh my god, did she try? She tried. She tries all the time.
Okay. That describe fear of this supposedly unlucky day. Just like...
just supposedly unlucky, I'm going to submit to you the last time that there was a Friday the 13th, which was, what, in April? My phone made an unceremonious leap out of my back pocket that I still don't understand and cracked.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Friday the 13th.
The fear of the 13. Just like walking under a ladder, crossing paths with a black cat, I have one, or breaking a mirror, I've done that a lot. Many people hold fast to the belief that Friday the 13th brings bad luck. Though it's uncertain exactly when this particular tradition began, negative superstitions have swirled around the number 13 for centuries. While Western cultures have historically associated the number 12 with completeness, there are 12 days of Christmas, 12 months, and zodiac signs, 12 labors of Hercules. Okay.
I almost said 12 days in a week. I just wanted to chime in and feel special, and then I realized before I said it that's absolutely wrong.
You heard
Monday,
it.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, second Monday.
Thursday. 12 gods of Olympus, 12 tribes of Israel, just to name a few examples. Its successor, 13, has a long history and as a sign of bad luck. The ancient code of Hammurabi?
Yeah, Hammurabi's code.
For example, reportedly omitted the 13th law from its list of legal rules. Though this is probably a clerical error, superstitious people sometimes point to this as proof of 13's long-standing negative associations. Fear of the 13 even has earned a psychological term, and I already said it, so I'm not going to say it again. Why is Friday the 13th unlucky? According to biblical tradition, 13 guests attended the Last Supper held on Maundy Thursday, including Jesus and his 12 apostles. One of
Jesus.
Jesus! Jesus! One of whom Judas betrayed him. And the next day, of course, was Good Friday, the day of Jesus' crucifixion. The seating arrangement at the Last Supper is believed to have given rise to long-standing Christian superstition that having 13 guests at a table was a bad omen, specifically that it was courting death. Through Friday...
Honestly, I don't know that I even have 13 friends.
I definitely do not.
To invite to a dinner party like that.
Definitely don't. And then they also don't live close enough to just, have a dinner.
That's true, too.
Though Friday's negative associations are weaker, some have suggested that they also have roots in tradition. That's Christian tradition. You heard it here. Tradition.
You gotta concatenate those words.
Just as Jesus was crucified on a Friday, Friday was also said to be the day Eve gave Adam the fateful apple from the apple tree of knowledge.
Oh my god!
I need to get it together. It's Friday the 13th.
This is what we get. We really are pushing our luck by recording today at all.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna point it out, but you said crucified. But now that we're talking about fucking up anyway.
Okay, hold on. My dogs are crying, and I think I need to try to let them go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
I'll be here.
Crucified. Crucified. Have you ever heard that song before?
No.
It's called Crucified by Army of Lovers. It's a Swedish pop group that was extremely and fabulously gay. They have they have an amazing music video for it. And the reason why I even know about it at all is my fave band Ghost did a cover of it, and I love that cover, but the original is also really great. So I'm gonna start this paragraph over. I've taken a break. I went, let my dog outside, coming back, trying to get this together. Okay, let's try to keep the traditions and crucifrieds to a minimum. According to biblical tradition, what is that? Biblition? 13 guests attended the Last Supper, held on Maundy Thursday. Is that how you say that? Maundy? M-A-U-N-D?
Yeah, I think it's Maundy Thursday.
I've only ever seen it on words on paper. On words on screen. I've never heard it, so. Including Jesus and his 12 apostles, one of whom Judas betrayed him. The next day, of course, was Good Friday, the day of Jesus' crucifixion. I'm really trying here. The seating arrangement at the Last Supper is believed to have given rise to a long-standing tradition. I'm just going with it. that having 13 guests at a table was a bad omen, specifically that it was courting death. Though Friday's negative associations are weaker, some have suggested that they also have roots in Christian tradition. Just as Jesus was crucified on a Friday, Friday was also said to be the day that Eve gave Adam the fateful apple from the tree of knowledge, as well as the day Cain killed his brother Abel. In the late 19th century, a New Yorker named Captain William Fowler sought to remove the enduring stigma surrounding the number 13, and particularly the unwritten rule about not having 13 guests at a dinner table, by founding an exclusive society called the 13 Club. Now I feel like we should have named our podcast the 13 Club.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Well, that is a good one. If we rebrand, now you know why.
Yeah. The group dined regularly on the 13th day of the month in room 13 of the Knickerbocker Cottage, a popular watering hole Fowler owned from 1863 to 1883. Before sitting down for a 13-course dinner, that's a lot of food, members would pass beneath a ladder and a banner reading Morituri te salutamus, Latin for those of us who are about to die salute you. That's pretty rad.
This is actually really cool. I would absolutely join a club that's just like walking around under like extremely metal ladders and just like,
yeah.
This sounds like, what if this was like the exact opposite of the S Club 7?
Oh.
Club 13 is like, can you imagine? What if they sing like really like upbeat pop songs?
You know, it's so weird.
What?
You are the second person to bring up S Club 7 to me this month.
What?
Yeah, Heather brought it.
Who's still thinking about S Club 7 out there?
My friend Heather, we were at Holly and Ariel's wedding, and we were talking about pop from the 90s. And early 2000s.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, do you remember S Club 7? And she's like, what was their song? And I was like, it was Say You Will.
Oh, man.
Or wasn't it Say La Vie? Or was that Bewitched?
Oh, God, I don't know.
That was Bewitched.
I don't think I, like, really gave that much of a shit about S Club 7. I thought they were, like, a really Christian-y, like, pop group, weren't they?
I don't know.
I thought, like, maybe I'm thinking of something else, but I thought they had, like, kind of a vaguely public access-y kind of TV show where they did a lot of dancing and singing, but it, like, had strong Christian overtones or something.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess the bottom line is I don't really know what S Club 7 is about, but Club 13 sounds like it would get enough Sharks and Jets style fight with S Club 7.
Yeah, I agree. And they'd win. 4 former U.S. presidents, Chester A. Arthur, Grover Cleveland, Benjamin Harrison, and Theodore Roosevelt, would join the 13 club's ranks at one time or another. An important milestone in the history of the Friday the 13th legend, in particular, not just the number 13, occurred in 1907 with the publication of the novel Friday the 13th, written by Thomas William Lawson. The book told the story of a New York City stockbroker who plays on superstitions around the date to create chaos on Wall Street while making a killing on the market. That's cool.
Uh-huh.
The horror movie Friday the 13th, released in 1980, introduced the world to a hockey mask-wearing killer named Jason, if you guys haven't heard of it. And it's perhaps the best-known example of the famous superstition in pop culture history. The movie spawned multiple sequels, as well as comic books, novellas, video games, related merchandise, and countless terrifying Halloween costumes. What bad things happened on Friday the 13th? On Friday the 13th...
Your phone breaks.
Yeah, and you can't say words. On Friday, October 13th, 1307. That's double 13, man.
The year 1307?
Yeah.
We're going way back in time. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just taking you to the 80s, then back to 1307, you know.
I can't keep track. Where's Doc Brown?
Maybe you wrote this article. Officers of King Philip IV of France arrested hundreds of the Knights Templar, a powerful religious and military order formed in the 12th century for the defense of the Holy Land. Imprisoned on charges of various illegal behaviors, but really because the king wanted to access their financial resources, many Templars were later executed. Some cite the link with the Templars as the origin of Friday the 13th. But like many... the superstition. But like many legends involving the Templars and their history, the truth remains murky. In more recent times, a number of traumatic events have occurred on Friday the 13th, including the German bombing of Buckingham Palace in 1940, the
Uh-oh. It's starting again.
The murder of Kitty Genovese. I'm laughing while I'm saying that. It's not okay. Okay. Scene. In more recent times, a number of traumatic events have occurred on Friday the 13th, including the German bombing of Buckingham Palace in 1940, the murder of Kitty Genovese in Queens, New York in March of 1964, a cyclone that killed more than 300,000 people in Bangladesh in 1970, the disappearance of Chilean Air Force plane in the Andes in 1972, the death of rapper Tupac Shakur in 1996, and the
crash on Friday the 13th?
Apparently. The crash of Costa Concordia cruise ship off the coast of Italy, which killed 30 people in 2012. So
I knew about a lot of those things, but I didn't know a lot of those things happened on Friday the 13th.
So now I am on the Atlas Obscura listing for the 1880s Supper Club, the 13 Club, written by Cara Giaimo, maybe? But there's an I in there too. So, Giaimo.
Giaimo.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did that sound Italian?
Yeah.
I assumed that was an Italian name.
You did it. On September 13th, 1881, in room 13 of Manhattan's Knickerbocker Cottage, 12 expectant men sat around a table. The meal was all set out, big platters of lobster salad, each molded into the shape of a coffin, surrounded by 13 crawfish. The decorations were perfect. 13 candles exactly, and a big banner that read, I already said it once, I really don't want to say it again. I'm not good at Latin. It said in Latin, "We who are about to die salute you." I really, need a banner for my house that just says that. They were just waiting on one man. When an hour or so passed, the last guest hadn't shown himself, the dinner host, William Fowler, took matters into his own hands. Smiling, he grabbed a nearby waiter, who immediately began trembling. Fowler was just about to put the waiter through some initiation rites when the tardy invitee eventually arrived. The frightened waiter was released, for the first of 13 toasts were made, and thus began the inaugural meeting of the 13 Club. In the murky annals of superstition, the number 13 maintains a special place. While historians aren't quite sure why we don't trust it, it can't seem to shake its bad reputation. Fear of the number has been attributed with varying degrees of evidence to the Vikings, the ancient Romans, and the people of the 14th century France. Many new buildings still don't have a 13th floor. In Fowler's time, fear of the number 13 was most often associated with the Last Supper, where Jews dined with his 12 disciples shortly before he was crucified. Were Jesus?
Yeah, Does it say that?
No.
Oh, no. I mean, I guess you're technically not wrong, right?
In Fowler's time, fear of the number 13 was most often associated with the Last Supper, where Jesus dined with his 12 disciples shortly before he was crucified. As one superstitious person explained in 1863, since the Last Supper, whenever there are 13 persons assembled, one of them is sure to be a Judas. This belief was common enough to interrupt social occasions. Such luminaries as Victor Hugo would reportedly leave a table if exactly 12 other people were there. Fowler himself, though, thought this was bunk. He'd lived a varied, happy life. As he grew older, he realized that it featured repeated appearances of the number 13. He had attended PS 13 and graduated at age 13. During a brief stint as an architect, he built 13 public buildings. Later, he fought in the Union Army and survived 13 battles. Eventually, he adopted the number as a sort of talisman. Like many men of his time, Fowler had another great love, social clubs. He eventually belonged to, you guessed it, 13 of them, one of which was just him and a friend drinking boiling hot whiskey. That sounds very painful.
Sounds great. I love it.
In late 19th century, club life provided an easy way to make friends, eat lavish meals, and in some cases engage in various goofy themed pursuits. It should be noted that there are pictures of some of these clubs, and every single person is male, and every single person is white.
Oh.
New York boasts...
What do you say?
Yeah. Unthinkable, right, for the time?
Yeah.
New York City boasted scores of these clubs, from the more traditional Loto and Union clubs to the Liars Club for men who loved to trick each other, the Candor Club for brutally honest ones. When Fowler took over the Knickerbocker Cottage, he decided it was time to found one himself. Its aim, he decided, would to fight the fear of 13 and various other superstitions by engaging as many unlucky practices as possible. Although it took him nearly a year to drum up 12 other members after their first meeting, the 13 Club began to grow, thanks largely to Fowler's sense of humor and pitch-perfect flair for the Gothic. Menus generally included 13 courses, and wine lists were often shaped like gravestones. That's so cool. Members came dressed in black suits, neckties, and top hats. Before sitting down, they made a point of walking under a ladder and brought indoors just for this occasion. The atmosphere was funereal and suggested a feast at which undertakers were bidden. The New York Times wrote of April 8, 1882's meeting, which featured a cake with a black cat on it. Other meetings included mirror smashing, salt spilling, and mock trials of members who had purportedly acted superstitiously. This sounds so fun.
I know.
I need to do one that's like all women.
Let's bring it back.
All diverse women. When they weren't tempting fate at dinner, the 13 Club's members advanced their cause in other ways. They wrote to local officials asking them to rehabilitate Friday's unlucky reputation by inducing judges to select another day for hangings. In at least one case, they succeeded. They racked up high-profile honorary members, including Grover Cleveland, Chester A. Arthur, and Theodore Roosevelt. Some insisted on sitting only at tables of 13, even at other club meetings. Word of these exploits spread quickly, and the 13 Club soon enjoyed a certain amount of renown. One 1886 dinner on Coney Island brought in 400 attendees. Chapters opened up in Chicago, France, and England. Sub-branches popped up too, including New York City's 13 Cycle Club, which traded lavish indoor banquets for outdoor clam bakes. In 1891, New York's flagship 13 Club began inviting women to certain dinners.
Oh, well, you know.
Each one got a welcome gift, a tiny glass bottle of perfume with a stopper shaped like a human skull.
Ah, that sounds so cool.
2 years later, 13 women opened up their very own chapter in Iowa.
Hell yeah, it's about time.
But I bet they were all white.
That's probably true.
Despite this burgeoning popularity, though, some remained unimpressed. The club had shown that it is as ignorant. The club has shown that it is as ignorant of the nature of ill luck as it is reckless in trifling with it. Wrote one opponent in the Times. Bad luck did occasionally rear its head. At one club meeting, a waiter fractured his skull when a traditional indoor ladder collapsed on him. Another time, someone blew up the New Jersey clubhouse with dynamite. The members inside escaped with bruises.
Oh, good.
The club ran into some crying wolf problems too. After one New York meeting place collapsed in 1888, causing several injuries, officials were so busy joking about it that the club had to agitate for an investigation. There's like a menu here, and I will post pictures of it because it's cool.
Oh, please do.
Mortality is the worst luck of all, and everyone dies eventually, even devoted floaters of the superstition. Fowler passed away suddenly in 1897, and in the following decades, this particular type of club life began petering out. Starting around the mid-1920s, searching for the 13 Club in newspaper archives brings up only obituaries of the former members. Oh. But some unexpected bits of the legacy live on. According to one contemporary reporter, the 13 Club may be inadvertently responsible for one of today's most iconic bad luck charms, Friday the 13th. Although both Friday and the number 13 have both been considered unlucky for centuries, it's possible that no one made a point of combining them until the 13 Club, reporter Trevor Timpson writes. 2 of these vulgar superstitions you have combated resolutely and without flinching, commented the club's scribe in 1883. In their zeal to disprove each of them, the club may have created a superstition superbug instead. There's more awesome pictures.
Yes.
A Short Times article from 1887 also suggests the club may have had a hand in a piece of consistent good fortune, the weekend. That year, Justice David McAdam, a 13 Club branch president and a member of the New York City Court, declared Saturday an official half-holiday, during which public offices must close after noon. He did this, he said, partially to restore more esteem to Friday, a 13 Club priority. If the new idea met popular favor, Friday might yet become a sailing day of all our ocean steamers, the Times wrote. And Saturday, now less than half a day for business purposes, would in short time become a full holiday for pleasure. About 4 decades later, in 1929, the Amalgamated Clothing Workers of America successfully demanded a 5-day work week. So this Saturday, set aside a toast, or 13, for Fowler and the 13 Club. They might just have the luckiest legacy of anyone.
Aww. The end.
That was a great article.
Yeah, thank you, Alice Obscura.
Yeah. So there you have it. I didn't know that my topic would become about that, but I'm glad it did.
Yeah, I think it sounds to me like we absolutely need to start back the tradition of 13 clubs.
For sure.
If you want to apply, tweet at us.
Yeah. If we should change our name to the 13 Club.
The 13 Club, also tweet at us.
I'm looking it up.
The 13th Club? Or 13 Club?
There is no other podcast titled that.
That was really good. I'd never heard of that before, and it sounds really, interesting. It, the, attention to detail from, little, quirk stoppers to, things shaped like coffins and the menu. I'm dying to know what's on that menu. No pun intended. That's so cool. That's, it sounds like, someone's, Pinterest board went crazy.
Yeah.
With, spooky ideas. I love it.
I love it. The next time I'm able to, have a big party, I'm going to do that.
You should.
My wedding.
Yeah, I was going to say that this is your reception.
Yeah. Maybe I'll add some.
You totally should. I think that sounds like a lot of fun. All right. Do you want me to go?
Yes, I do.
Do you have any final thoughts on the 13 Club or Friday the 13th?
No, that just, kind of brightened my day a little bit. I just really enjoy hearing about stuff like that I didn't know about before.
Yeah, I feel like it warms my heart to know that,
those goths.
They were just all about it, and they were totally unapologetic, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So, for my topic, I wanted to talk about the Watcher House.
Yeah.
Which I think I asked you ahead of time if you had heard of this or if you knew it, and you said you didn't.
I don't, and I did not look it up because I wanted to be, hanging on every word.
This is, a relatively recent thing, so some of you guys may have heard of this or may remember it, or it might ring a bell. I'm going to be reading primarily an article off of grunge.com,
okay.
But I have some other stuff here. So, what is the Watcher House? So, there we go. New Jersey seems to be the home for weird and creepy events. Jersey had its own mythical creature, a deadly theme park, and a rumored portal to another world. Now there's another mystery haunting New Jersey. It doesn't feature ghosts, aliens, or devils, but one man called the Watcher, who's making life hell for one family in the formerly safe town of Westfield. That was written weird, and I feel like I read it weird.
Listen, you can't do worse than what I did, so it's fine.
You don't tempt me. So, In 2014, Derek and Maria Broaddus bought a 6-bedroom Westfield mansion for $1.3 million and thought it would be the perfect place for their 3 children to grow up. I looked up pictures of this house.
I'm doing it right now.
It's got like kind of like a barn style front to it. It's got a lot of windows of different shapes and sizes. Honestly, like something about it. I'm sure like this like sounds like it's in my head like after the fact, but something about it looks off to me, and I'll tell you why. If you look up a picture of it, like the front face of the house, which has this like barn shaped roof, there's like in the peak of the barn, there's like a little like window that's shaped like an arch with 2 like lattices on either side, and then there are 3 plain old rectangular windows.
Oh, I see it.
Kind of, but there's like 2 standing up and one that looks like it's laying on its side.
Yeah.
And something about that is really off-putting to me, and I do not know why. I don't know if it's because like my like family is really big into houses and interior decorating as a career and like contracting and stuff, and so like looking at a house like that freaks me out. Like the whole house looks like it's a mishmash of like a couple of different styles and things that don't make sense to me.
Yep.
Like the style of the porch, like that front porch, but with this like weird barn shaped roof, and then like there's a picture window over to the other side. Like, what is this house? Anyway, the house looks weird to me personally. I don't know if you feel the same.
I do.
But I don't know. So, Derek and Maria Broaddus bought this house. But a few days after moving in on June 2nd, and this is 2014, they received a mysterious letter. According to the Washington Post, the letter read, "My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s, and my father watched it in the 1960s. It is now my time. I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming." It went on to say, "Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them out to me." Not quite the welcome wagon they were looking for.
What the fuck?
They received 2 more letters on June 18th and July 18th. These letters contained freaky tidbits like, "Have they found out what is in the walls yet? In time they will. I am pleased to know your names, and now the name of the young blood you have brought to me. Will the young bloods play in the basement?" The writer also hoped to get some info to make his stalking a little easier. "Who has the bedrooms facing the street? I'll know as soon as you move in. It will help me to know who is in which bedroom, and then I can plan better." How could the stalker possibly see who's living in which room? One of the letters said, "All of the windows and doors in 657 Boulevard allow me to watch you and track you as you move through the house." One part of the note was extra threatening, as it proved that the stalker was watching the home improvements that the Broadduses were making. Quote, "You have changed it and made it so fancy. It cries for the past and what used to be in the time when I roamed its halls, when I ran from room to room, imagining the life with the rich occupants there. And now I watch and wait for the day when the young blood will be mine again." In the final piece of Batman villainesque writing, he wrote, "Who am I? I am the Watcher." Not surprisingly, the Broaddus family wasn't keen to hang around a place that had a stalker yearning for, quote, young blood. Though they made improvements on the home, they never actually moved in, too scared by the creepy letters. The family claims that they tried to sell the home, but when they disclosed the Watcher's existence to potential buyers, people backed away slowly, then presumably sped away in their cars, screams drowning out the radio. According to the Broaddus family, they reached out to the former owners of the home, the Woods, and told them about their Creeptown letter. Allegedly, the Woods said they got 1 letter, but it wasn't threatening, so they threw it away. But the Broaddus family took that to mean that the Woods knew about the Watcher and chose not to disclose it to potential new owners, so they sued. Which, I don't know, I feel like makes sense.
Yeah.
If you have to tell people about, like, potential, like, deaths and stuff, like, if you have reason to believe that your house is being watched, I don't know, I feel like that's like a weird legal loophole to exploit, like, yeah. I don't know. It feels shady.
Mm-hmm.
One letter, according to the Broaddus family's complaint, said, "I asked the Woods to bring me young blood. I have been in control of 657 Boulevard for the better part of 2 decades now. The Woods family turned it over to you. It was their time to move on and kindly sold it when I asked them to." Though the Woods, again, all of this according to the complaint, did admit to receiving the one letter, they completely denied any wrongdoing and countersued the Broaddus family, stating that they've been damaged by all the negative press. The police didn't want to leave the neighborhood in fear of the villainous Watcher, so they did a exhaustive search. And I'm not sure how exhaustive is, because it kind of sounds to me like they don't care. But they found a few leads and confirmed the existence of the Broaddus family's 3 letters, but the cops said they weren't aware of any other letters being sent to the Woods or any of the other previous owners. The only real clue that was disclosed was a bit of DNA evidence. Sources told the Westfield Leader, as reported by, I believe it's NewJersey.com, the letter contained female DNA, and it didn't match Mrs. Broaddus, so the Watcher could be a lady, but who or where she is wasn't disclosed. Thus far, no one has been charged with anything in the case, and no suspects have been revealed. Since the Broaddus family can't sell the house, and they don't feel like being watched every hour of the day, they decided to tear the place down. So they asked the city if they can destroy the creepy house and build 2 smaller homes on the same lot. Now, you'd figure that the town would be fine with this idea. After all, who wants to have a creepo house in their neighborhood? But no.
Historic
the neighbors
house, right?
Huh?
It's a historic house, right?
I don't know. I mean, maybe. It might be. If it's been watched since the 1920s, it seems possible. That's almost 100 years at this point. But I'll come back to that, sort of. But no, the neighbors were not pleased. Nearby resident Ed Israelo said to NewJersey.com, "I think it's a terrible application. It would be terrible for the neighborhood. It would be out of character for the neighborhood." Most of the other neighbors agreed. The idea of having 2 smaller homes on this street of near mansions was just too disturbing. Sure, they might have to put up with one insane stalker, but at least the lane would still look nice. The city sided with residents and declined the Broaddus family's request to demolish the house, so the Broaddus family sued again. Now with suits against the Woods family and the city of Westfield, the Watcher is giving them quite the legal headache. Residents are united against the Broaddus family's complaint and seem to have little sympathy for a family receiving Hannibal Lecter-level threats. Part of the reason the city of Westfield may seem so heartless towards the Broaddus family is that this whole thing might be made up. 657 Boulevard was built in 1905, and it's been steadily inhabited ever since. None of the previous owners, save for the one, quote, non-threatening note the Woods received, heard anything from any of the supposed long line of Watchers. The Westfield Leader interviewed former 657 resident Boulevard Moggy Bakes Davis, who lived in the house from 1963 to 1988. On living there, she said, "We had a wonderful time. No Watcher issues or any other crazy stuff." Davis even held her wedding reception in the backyard and didn't receive any untoward wedding letters. Davis wasn't the only one who enjoyed her time in the Stalker house. Bill Schaefer lived there from 1955 to 1963 and never experienced any issues. He told Gothamist, "I think it's all just a farce. Somebody's mad at someone about something, or somebody's in over their head. I don't know what's going on. Nobody's been watching that house for 100 years. The whole thing's absurd." Since the cops have come up empty, people have developed theories of their own. On Reddit, someone speculated that the Broaddus family just wants their money back while still maintaining ownership of the house. A Reddit user, this screams scam, said self-appointed expert Reddit user Lord Flutternutter. If they don't think it's the owners themselves orchestrating the scheme, others think a rival real estate dealer is behind the letters. That way they can drive the price of the house way down and then scoop it up for themselves. Others speculate it's all just some viral marketing scheme or a Hollywood exec who wants to make this into the next Amityville horror. There's some slight truth to this, since a number of big-time movie people have allegedly expressed interest in turning The Watcher into a major film. The Trekking Board reported that Blumhouse, New Line, and Universal were all interested in bringing this horrific tale to life. However, that was back in 2015, and nothing has been announced since, but that doesn't mean we won't see a Watcher movie starring Jackie Earle Haley in our near future. Still, it's doubtful that any of those companies would go to all the effort to create this whole ruse just for a horror pick. Universal has more Transformers films to make. They don't have time for New Jersey. One interesting rumor posits that the Watcher lives in the neighborhood. Andrew Smith told New Jersey, a lot of neighbors, they all think they know who it is, someone who lives locally. And Gothamist received an email that stated, "So, heard from a friend who knows someone who lives on that street in New Jersey. The Watcher is a local crazy who lives on the street and harasses everyone. Apparently he's an adult son of a couple living on the street. Everyone who lives there knows who it is and no one will speak up because they're afraid he'll genuinely retaliate. The guy's parents defend him and think he's harmless when in reality he makes life uncomfortable and annoying for everyone in the neighborhood. He probably hasn't actually broken any laws, so the police will do nothing. A Gothamist reporter went to Westfield to try and find out more, but most residents said they didn't know of any local crazy, though lots of them didn't want to speak at all about the Watcher. Horace Corbin of the Westfield Leader feels this rumor has no merit. He thinks it's more suspicious that the Broaddus family has had 12 mortgages in the past 10 years and hasn't heard any complaints about an unhinged person on the loose. No matter which theory, the town of Westfield believes they all seem pretty chill about the whole thing. No one was really afraid or seemed too worried about a potential nut job living amongst them, probably because they were left out of the Watcher's threats. The Broaddus family tried to put the house up for sale again in 2016, but the charming 6-bedroom with 4 fireplaces still won't move. Luckily, they did find a renter. Since February 2017, a man who would only go by Chris is living in the house with his 3 dogs. Apparently, he never read any of the news about the notorious house, and though he's aware of the Watcher's letters, said, "That's not my issue." Sure, he lives in a house that was allegedly threatened by a psycho, but Chris probably doesn't have much young blood around, so he's cool. The house has remained empty since the Watcher's letters arrived, and for 3 years the stalker remained silent. And February 1st, when Chris moved in, I think I misread the sentence. On February 1st, 2017, Chris moved in, and by February 20th, the Watcher returned to his pen and ink. The Broaddus family received a 4th letter that, according to their lawyer, is the worst one yet. This letter contained specific threats and was more derogatory and sinister than any of the previous letters. However, the content of the letter has not been disclosed, and police declined to comment on any specifics or new information on the case. Reporters previously interviewed Chris and only got more lackadaisical responses back. When NewJersey.com went back to the home after the latest letter broke, no one answered the door at the house. Though we can't be sure if the Watcher is watching or if Hollywood still is, we can be sure that New Jersey will never disappoint with the creepy stories.
Wow.
And I did some research. I tried to find if I could... I wanted to see if I could find the actual letters, because I really wanted to read them, particularly this most recent one from 2017, if it's the most threatening one yet, but I couldn't find it. I did find scans of the entire lawsuit, if anybody wants to read the lawsuit that was filed. I found scans of that. But I don't know. I kind of don't know what to think. I went back to Reddit to read some more theories, and I did see a lot of people talking about how they think it's a scam on the Broaddus family, wanting to, like, get their money back or try to, whatever. But I don't know, like, why would you sink money into updating and making, like, repairs to a place and, like, changing things that much? Like...
Also, like
that...
Two things stick out to me. One is, like, the DNA thing. It didn't match her, so who is it?
Right.
Okay. And then the other thing to me is that if they wanted to sell the house, why didn't they just not do this?
What, like, why would they make up this whole Watcher thing if they were going to sell? Yeah, that clearly isn't going to work, because that just doesn't make any sense to me. And a lot of people were talking about the, like, 12 mortgages that they had, blah, 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 but, like, somebody on Reddit did homework on that, and, like, I don't know how you do homework on such a thing, but they said that, like, it looks like they just were people that bought and sold homes pretty often, so they implied that it wasn't totally unreasonable that they might have had, like, several mortgages over a certain period of time if they're, like, home flippers or something like that. So that in and of itself is not necessarily, like, a damning piece of, like, oh, you're a scammer. I guess they left a link on where they found their, like, stuff. And then they also, somebody had a list of some of the previous residents that were mentioned in that article. I'm trying to see. Somebody, I tried to look this up on one of the Reddit threads. Someone looked up the house on Google Street Maps And the most recent image that was on Google Street View was 2007 at the time. Someone says if you swing the view around, there is a parked car across the street from that house, and it looks like there's a camera pointed at the house in that car.
What? Do they have a picture?
No, they didn't put a picture, but I tried to go back and find it myself, and it is since a more updated photo. There's still like a car parked across the street from the house on Google Street View, but I don't see a camera, and the date is different. But I thought that was pretty fucking crazy, and nobody wanted to talk about that. Let's see. They said, wait, maybe here is an image. Hold on. We can post this. It's down. The server's down for when that image was uploaded. No! Are you kidding me? Maybe we can Wayback Machine it. But someone was saying, I'm seeing what looks like a barking dog in the back seat and possibly a man holding a camera in the driver's seat. The dog is circled and the man is in the square. You can sort of make out a crooked arm and the position one would make when taking a photograph. But some people said I just see glare and like pixels. It's hard to see.
Did you find this on Unresolved Mysteries?
The threads I did, yeah.
Okay.
The Watcher House story, I remember hearing about it when it happened and being really interested in it at the time, but they never seemed to make any progress or any real development, so I kind of forgot about it until recently. I think, like, I don't know, my theory is that maybe it's something that the whole neighborhood is in some way. Not necessarily in the, like, it's some guy's adult son, which is also possible, but, like, they kept saying nobody else who ever lived there had problems with it, like, with a watcher or anything like that, but maybe they all are, like, from that town. Like, what if this is, like, a family of outsiders, and they don't want them on their street, so they're, like, trying to scare them away, or, like, I don't know, So I think if we could go back further into the history of the town and the history of the house, like if we started looking at the people who built it and that family, I would be really interested in trying to like find links from there personally. Just the history of the house and like, I don't know. I think it's really interesting. Even if there's nothing to it, I think it sounds so perfectly creepy. I can't even like get over it. Like, it's so cool. Yeah. This is a cool, real-life scary story. It sounds like it could be a creepypasta, but, like, this is something that's, like, gone to courts and stuff.
Yeah, I was trying to find a way to see that picture, but I can't.
Yeah. I want to see it. So bad. And then, like, somebody else says, like, if you could run the plates on that car in that picture, that would be, like, a great clue.
Yeah.
But I just like the idea of somebody watching you in your home is such a like primal fear. Like your home is such, a safe place, or it's supposed to be. I don't know. I'm not telling anyone to come and stalk me by any means, but like I think that's just really cool. I don't know.
Yeah, it's super cool. I really like that. I want to read more about it, and maybe we'll end up doing a postmortem for this.
Yeah.
It might be like a late one because we're doing the film episode next week, but
yes.
Yeah, we might end up following up on this in some capacity.
I'd love to follow up on this. it's hard because there've been so few developments on it since 2017.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what to think about any of it. Like, I feel like you could go either way. Like, it would be really easy to say, like, this is a scam, and that almost sort of makes sense, but then if you think about it, it really doesn't, and, like, I don't know. Do you guys out there have thoughts or opinions? Someone out there good at real estate and or money, you can tell me about how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my sister
just got her real estate license, and also I have a friend that's a realtor if you want me to ask them about it.
Go for it. Yeah, just be like, have you heard of this? Like, what's your take on this? I'm just curious. Yeah. I think the most recent article that I found while I was doing my research was from October or November of 2017, and it was that the house is back on the market again.
Okay.
So if anybody's looking to scoop it up,
now's your chance. I would if I had money and wanted to live there.
That's the thing. Like, I ask myself, like, I say, like, oh, I do it. You know, again, if I had the money, et cetera, et cetera. But like, also, I think about it, I'm like, could I do it? Like, for me, this is scarier than a haunted house.
Yeah, stalkers are incredibly scary. I mentioned this before, but I have experience with them. But I feel like I don't know what I think.
Watcher.
It's hard to say whether I think it's real or not. It sounds like not real.
I know, but I want it to be.
Yeah.
I really want it to be.
I want it to be, but then also I don't.
I don't want people to be like actively stalked, but like the idea, just like some of the language that they use is so like evocative. Like, have they found something in the walls? Like, oh my god, that's so fucking scary. I love it. Anyway, so that's my story for today.
I liked it.
The
That was really
Watcher.
good. I feel like
New Jersey
this
Watcher
episode is good. I think this might be my favorite one so far.
Oh, okay.
So I have like a Reddit story, and then we'll do a superstition, and then we'll peace out.
Yes.
Okay. So I just grabbed this one. It's by SLCer, SLCER, from a year ago, and it says, this story happened to my mom years ago when she was in her late teens. Her and a couple of friends were driving up one of the canyon roads one night when an unmarked police car flagged her down from behind with his lights. So she pulled over to the side of the road. Officer came up to the window, told my mom to step out of the car, and then noticed her friends. I assume he thought she was alone. When she went to open the door, he stopped her, nervously changed his tone, and asked my mom where they were going. My mom gave a throwaway answer, and it was now starting to get creeped out. After looking at the girls in the car for a second, he spots beer. They were underage, but instead of ticketing them, he tells my mom to give him the case of beer, then told her that there are creepy people and devil worshippers who live in the canyon and to head back to the city. So my mom and her friends gave this guy the beer and then went back to the city. A few weeks later, she's watching the news, and there's a story about a man who's posing as a cop, pulling over unsuspecting women and raping them.
Oh, no.
They then gave a description of the car, and it was the same car that had pulled her and her friends over. She did find it odd that this guy didn't show his badge, nor was he in uniform, but I don't think it hit her how dangerous the situation could have been. She believes the guy didn't initially see her friends when he pulled her over and just assumed that she was driving alone.
Dude, never get out of the car if they don't show you your badge. Ask first every single time.
They have to be in uniform. I don't know. I guess there are you're right, badge. Badge is a must.
Be safe, you guys.
I know that there are undercover cops, but generally speaking, an undercover cop's probably not going to pull you over.
Yeah.
Because they have more important things to do.
Yeah, that's why they're undercover.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gross. I hate it. Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah.
Where's my book? So, I can't find my superstition book, my handy-dandy superstition book. I will find it, but I just looked up a Washington Post article that is superstitions from all over the world. And this one is from Zimbabwe. And it says, if you are kidnapped by a mermaid and your family sheds even a tear for you, the mermaid will never return you to your family.
That one's weird.
It's an old superstition, but I've heard it at a wedding as recently as April this year. Yeah.
I'm curious about that one.
Yeah.
If you're kidnapped by a mermaid, that's like, if your family loves you at all, you're never going home. In this case, it's better if, like, nobody likes you. You're better off. That's just funny to me.
In Mexico and elsewhere, they say that if you put two mirrors in front of each other, you open a threshold for the devil.
I've heard that.
I have too.
I like it. I've heard that it, not so much like a threshold for the devil, but like, it's bad luck.
I think I've seen
you
it
opened
in
a
like
portal to another dimension.
I think I've seen like the devil thing in one of those movies, like one of those VHS or one of those horror compilation movies. I think they did something like that because I've seen like everyone. Because most of the time they're really bad, but I still always watch them.
It's pretty good.
Well, I guess that sums up this episode. I feel like it was good.
I hope it was good.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it.
Well, before we go, we wanted to do a thank you shout out to somebody who left us some very kind comments on our YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys, we haven't mentioned it in a while, but we are still double posting these episodes. So besides having an audio version that's available on different platforms, we are also recording a video version that we upload to our YouTube channel where you can see us talk to each other, watch us react in real time, except it's not real time.
Yeah, it's not, but if you want to see our faces, and then maybe subscribe and like our videos, we would appreciate that. I feel like
for sure.
We are like getting a to me impressive number of listeners from the audio, which is awesome, and thank you. That's why we're continuing to do it. But our YouTube could use some love, so that'd be awesome.
Yeah, no pressure. Absolutely no obligation. But, if you enjoy us, consider it.
Yeah, thanks. So, the comment, should I read the comment?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yes,
so
go ahead.
The comment is from Jacob McCauley. And he said, I just found your podcast and decided to look up the show to put a face to the voices. And as you mentioned, there was a YouTube channel. I love your work, girls. I listened to the whole series while at work. My wife and I just moved to Central Virginia and have heard several pretty spooky stories. He put it in quotes, pretty spooky stories from the locals that I have met, including the ones mentioned in the second episode about Fairfax County. They remind me of some of the more obscure ghost stories from southern Missouri, from where I'm from, some of which I have experienced myself. I'd love to share them with you if you're ever interested. There's a lot of lore from the Ozark hillbillies, towns buried under lakes, haunted roads and bridges, including a friend of mine's house growing up that was notoriously haunted. I have a lot of friends that love this type of show, and I'll certainly be sharing your work with them. I look forward to watching your channel grow.
Oh my god, thank you so much.
When I got this comment, I literally squealed and then immediately sent it to Miramay. And then we were not in the same room, but I could feel emotionally we were squealing together.
Oh, absolutely. I actually, when you sent it to me, that message was like the first thing I saw when I woke up that morning.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. Thank you so much, Jacob. We would absolutely love to hear whatever stories you have to tell us. I think you may have already had a brief back and forth about possibly emailing them to us further in the comments, but if you are still listening, we are still here, and we would love to hear what you have to say.
Totally.
So please email us your cool, spooky stories.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. So nice.
Thank you.
All right. I think that probably wraps it up for this time, right?
It does. See you guys later.
Yeah, next thing you hear from us, instead of our normal postmortem episode, that's just a reminder, we are having our special episode where we talk about our 2 favorite horror movies, Martyrs and Suspiria. So
that'll be out not this Monday, but next Monday.
Yes,
so
one
watch
week
the
from
movies.
You listening this.
So you can watch Martyrs on Amazon Prime Video. You can rent it or buy it. I just bought it because I've downloaded it so many times, so I think it was time to purchase it. And then you said that you can watch Suspiria free where?
Yeah, I'm about to look that back up. I found it on a, I don't know how new it is, but it was like a streaming service I had never heard of before. Called Midnight something. Midnight Pulp. Midnight Pulp. If you check out Midnight Pulp on their website, they have Suspiria that you can watch for free, and a bunch of other cool curated collections of weird pulpy movies, old anime, some action flicks. It seems like their whole deal is
culty
cool stuff, which is right up my alley. So you can watch Suspiria there for free.
Awesome. Go watch it and watch Martyrs, and then listen to our episode, and then we can all discuss it as a family.
We're going to sit down at the table, and we're going to have a serious discussion.
But only 13 of us. And if there's more, then you have to bring friends so that there can be 2 tables of 13.
Yeah, we don't make the rules.
Yeah, we don't.
This was established long before, as we learned today.
Yeah, like a long ass time ago. Okay.
All right, thank you
Thanks,
guys.
Bye.
See you. Bye.